Guys, in today's video, I'm going to be going over Booga, Peterbot, and Cold trio cash cup performance. These guys are extremely coordinated and extremely good trio. I'd recommend you guys try to watch them if you guys can. Basically, you guys can use this video as sort of a trio cash cup guide. I believe that it's going to be very useful for all of you. Stick around to the end. Let's get right into it. So guys, right off the rip, you can kind of see that they're going to be landing at the raft here. And I want you to notice that they ping, as you can see on the map. They've pinged this little area. That's really crucial because that just shows that they have a drop map. They know how to drop at this POI. That's a really important thing that a lot of teams aren't doing. And also, you guys can see they are contested by one more team. So really quickly here, I'm just going to quickly show you guys the team that's contesting them. It's actually crucial because since they're contested by this other team, that means that they're going to be able to get their early storm surge off spawn. I want you to notice that they land on two opposite sides of the POI. Obviously, this team's going to be landing on that side, and then Booga, Peterbot, and Cold land on this side. I personally believe that their side is better, but that's going to be Booga, Peterbot, and Cold, because they have Emma Frost right below them, which gives them the mythic medallion that's going to allow them to have wall hacks onto their opponents throughout the game. I want you guys to understand Booga, Peterbot, and Cold are all looting very quickly. They're being very efficient with their looting. They're getting the three things, which are going to be mats, weapons, and health as quick as possible. What they do is they immediately go for Emma Frost, and what happens here is that Peterbot is going to kind of scout out the area and scout and see if anybody's kind of coming. The other team obviously here is going to be sort of aggressing onto them. I want you guys to notice what they do. They get a quick beam onto these opponents right here, and they're able to really effectively get a lot of damage, and they actually get a knock. They decide to try and aggress after this. They try to get those eliminations, but I want you to notice what Peterbot does here. Peterbot pushes onto this enemy player right here, and unfortunately what happens is Peterbot kind of over-aggresses by himself, and he does get knocked, and eventually he does get eliminated by this player, which is not going to be a good start for this trio, just because they're going to be one man down. It's going to be a 2v2 situation here. That's not an ideal situation. Ideally, they want it to be a 3v2, but Peterbot has gotten down. So Cold actually gets a second elimination, so now it's a 2v1, and they decide to regroup. They decide to sort of, see what they have, and then eventually they decide to push onto this enemy player. After that, it's pretty much just cleaning up the fight, and they're able to get a lot of early storm surge damage and an elimination. Now, basically, the rest of the early game is just them looting the area, farming materials, and just going to get Peterbot back from this reboot van. As you guys can see, Booga and Cold are split here. Cold decides to go base up onto the reboot van as a good high ground power position, and then he decides to reboot Peterbot. Booga decides to go all the way back to the raft area and then reloot, get the Flowberry Fizz, get anything else they may need for the rest of the game. And this is sort of where the early game ends. Now guys, getting into the mid game, I want you to understand some things. Trios right now is a very elimination heavy game mode. In general, that's what it's been historically. So make sure you guys understand the importance of learning how to fight as a trio. This trio is a great example of a really good fighting trio. So I'd recommend you watch trios like these guys and other ones to learn how to fight. Basically what happens is they go on the reboot van, they reboot Peterbot, and Peterbot decides to go back to the rafts to reloot, while Booga and Cole decide to go across the map. They decide to rotate very efficiently, and what their goal is right here is they want to look for quick storm surge tags. So they decide to go up on top of this mountain. They know that there's going to be obviously a high ground advantage, a really good power position with a launch pad as well, and their decision right here is to pretty much just base up, kind of make a little storm surge base, and then use this as a surge route. I want you guys to see kind of what they have here. This is really crucial. Booga, Cold, and Peterbot are in a really good spot right here because I need you to understand where they are on the map right now. I kind of just want to zoom out and show you guys the amount of sightlines that they have from this place is extremely useful. As you can see, the zone is going to be sort of right here. It's going to be a big wide zone. A bunch of people are going to be rotating towards that side of the map because players want to get onto dead side, right? I want you to see kind of exactly how they are able to effectively rotate, effectively get storm surge tags onto enemy players that are all around the area, coming from pretty much any angle from this high ground position. This is an example of a really good surge route, and it's something that I think every team should have. Now guys, basically what they're going for here is they're just trying to get various different storm surge tags onto the enemy teams around them. As you can see, Cold and Booga are both around the area, but I want you to see one thing right here. Cold and Booga are a little bit split right here. I want you to understand what this is. This is called split basing. I'm going to be showing you guys from sort of an elevated angle. I want you to understand what this is and what this does for your team is it allows you guys to have attacks and tags from various different angles. Cold's going to be down here kind of based up in this little wooden box sort of area. He's going to be getting sprayed a little bit more obviously because he's in wood, and they might think he's a solo or hey, maybe he's not part of that team. And they're going to be aggressing onto these players. Booga's going to be up here on the ultimate high ground getting tags from here. So it's kind of a double angle attack. You guys can get much more angles onto these enemy players like that way. It's a really smart way to play. What they also decide to do that's really important in my opinion is they're really smart about where they are. They understand that the forecast tower is right next to them, and they go for the elimination onto these players right here, onto those sort of AI bots, and their goal is to try to get the forecast tower in order to see every single zone for the remaining of the match. Once they do that, they're pretty much set for the rest of the match in terms of materials and overall advantages. They have pretty much every single aspect of advantage that they could have. So because of that, they decide to aggress onto this team, and I want you to see something really quickly. basically, Peterbot is actually already pushing this team. He's been pushing them since a while ago, to be honest. He's been pushing this team since he left the raft. He didn't even go and meet up with Booga and Cold over there. He decided to just push them directly because he saw them flying in. Booga and Peterbot were definitely calming about this. They were definitely like, hey, this team's going to be rotating onto you. Try to, like, you know, sort of stop them so we can get quick storm surge tags and even more elimination points. So as you can see, this team gets really excited because they're like, oh, Peterbot's a solo, we can easily kill him. Therefore, they're going to be pushing on to Peterbot very aggressively. Then when Cold and Booga show up, they have the element of surprise and they're able to sort of get a really quick advantage in this fight. As you guys can see, all three of these players are going to be really startled by Booga and Cold's arrival. So what happens here in general, I want you guys to see, they're able to separate these three players. So as you can see, this player just got eliminated by Cold down here. Now this player right here is also going to be eliminated by Cold. And I also want you to see that Peterbot's able to get this player, so I want you to see how separated they are. They have one down here that got knocked, they have one up here, and then they have one up here. On completely different sides of the fight. And then all three of these players, Booga, Cold, and Peterbot, they're going to be aggressing onto each one. And as you guys know, Booga, Cold, and Peterbot are great fighters, so that's what makes it really easy for them to actually do this. Obviously, this player does almost get away. He's trying to run away, which is sometimes going to happen. You guys need to know when to count your losses and when to stop pushing players. But as you can see right here, their decision is to just sort of stop pushing that player, let him go, just let him get away. We don't need that elimination. Their goal right here is to rotate over to the bunker, which is a crucial aspect because you guys need to understand the bunker loot is so incredibly good in this meta. It's super beneficial and it's pretty much a win condition if you want to win in these really competitive lobbies. I want you guys to notice something, how they actually played this bunker area. This is going to be crucial and something that not enough teams do. I want you guys to notice they actually make a small base on top of the bunker. This is crucial because then other teams know, hey, listen, there's a team on there. We shouldn't push them because they have this bunker. Sometimes you guys will just see teams going into the bunker and then they're going to get aggressed on by some random players. That is not the play. You guys want to make sure that you have a base on top of the bunker so that other teams will not mess with you. They loot the bunker very quickly, and right now their goal is, hey, we need to get to zone. They're obviously not in zone. It's going to be pulling kind of far, and they do decide to rotate late using their mobility, like the fizz, like the launch pads that they have in the area. This is a really good rotation, and they're actually really taking advantage of this Grim Gate area water. That is going to be super useful because of that dash effect. A lot of people aren't understanding that that dash effect is so powerful nowadays, and you have to use it. Basically, what they're looking to do now is they're looking to move to another power position. This is going to be the island. Obviously, they stop to make sure nobody on the train is going to mess with them, and then they rotate over to the island. And this is something I want you guys to kind of understand about this trio. They're kind of going from power position to power position. So if I zoom out on the map right here really quickly, you guys can obviously see I'm kind of sort of mark it. The raft is where they landed. That's a big power position because it has that mythic. Then they rotated over to this area where they had Storm Surge in that corner. And then after doing that, these guys rotated over to this bunker over there. And then after that, they rotated to the Grim Gate water that has really good Grim Gate water. Gives you the effect. It helps you move around. Has the dash effect. And then they rotated finally over to this island. Their whole strategy is basically utilizing power positions because they know that they're a good team. They know that they can capitalize off of other players' weaknesses in fighting and just other general game sense knowledge. So what that means essentially is that they're going to be trying to get as many power positions as they can because that's how they're going to get the best loot and the most equipped for the win. The island is great because it allows them to get really easy storm surge tags on people that are running around the area. As you can see, they can have great sight lines onto pretty much any enemy player that they want here. And they also get good loot from the island. And of course, they do get the ability to keep this high ground position for a little while. What happens here, guys, I want you to understand is that they're going to have so many advantages in terms of being able to push people, being able to play passive, whatever they want to do, they can do it. So as you guys can see right here, what's going to happen is they're going to try to beam these enemy players. This is a really good tactic because as they obviously get a quick beam onto these enemy players, their goal is, hey, we need to rotate on these people right now. We can get a quick elimination, and this is going to allow us to really easily get a couple of points. Like I said, eliminations are huge in trios, so that's why they're going to be pushing this fight. I want you guys to see how these guys are playing the fight. As you can see, they're going to be very intelligent in the way that they play. I want you to see how Peterbot and Cold kind of double sandwich this guy. Cold's going to be on this side, Peterbot's on this side. They sandwich this enemy player and eliminate him very quickly. After that, they're going to be having this player as well that they can easily eliminate. And sort of their sandwich method is really smart. I want you to see how close they are. Booga's right here, Cold's in this box, Peterbox is sandwiching with him. That's a really effective way to play. They're playing tight together. They're using sandwich methods, whereas the rest of the trio in this circumstance, this guy's going to be down here. He's very split from the rest of his teammates. His other teammate was all the way up here somehow, and then obviously the next teammate is going to be running away. Now guys, the point of this is that they're going to be getting elimination points. However, the other big point is that they also want map control. As you can see, a team actually pushed back up onto the island and took their high ground position. Their whole goal here is let's just go up there and take back our position. The enemy team that was up there rotated out because they were scared of this team that was aggressing. The whole point of what they're doing with these power positions, with this area, with the eliminations that they're getting, is they're trying to get map control. They want to control as much of the map around them as they possibly can, and that's a crucially important step in a lot of trios' journeys. Guys, their decision right here is to rotate really effectively using the launch pad and the mobility of the island. They obviously look for some more storm surge tags first, but then of course they want to use that launch pad to effectively try and rotate to the best part of zone that they can. I want you guys to see exactly where they're rotating here. They are going to the complete dead side of zone. I've mentioned many times why I like dead side. I think it's really safe, especially after you guys have gotten a really good loot and really good eliminations throughout the whole game. And as you can see, they're rotating really effectively to this dead side of the map. There's going to be pretty much nobody on this side of the map. I want you guys to see something really quickly. Where they're rotating here is a crucial position because they're going to be on the low ground area, which is somewhere that pretty much nobody else is. As you can see in this whole area, there's nobody, right? Then there's going to be all these teams up on the higher ground layer because they believe that high ground is better, which is inherently kind of true. However, what you need to understand is that it's not just better yet. It's going to be better later in the game, which is when these guys will rotate up there. However, you need to understand most of the teams on the map are going to be centralized around this sort of congested location, you know, like the island, like these POIs right here, like this sort of place that people think is dead side, but truthfully isn't. This is going to be the side of zone that's going to be contested. It's going to be congested. There's a lot of teams around the area. Of course, there's going to be many teams around the other parts of the map as well, like there's going to be many teams just sort of everywhere that Bugha and Cold aren't. That's where the teams are. These guys are on the dead side of zone because they're landing in this low part of the map where nobody else is. This is where their roles kind of start to set in. Bugha, Cold, and Peterbot have a very interesting role dynamic. Bugha is going to be the IGL, Peterbot's the main fragger, and then Cold kind of does a little bit of both. He's kind of a support fragger. He helps IGL, it's tarp if needed, but he also can frag very well, of course. Obviously, they're going to be encountering another really good team here. This is Agers, Rituals, and Acorn. This is a good team, so they kind of can understand that, and they can know when to rotate past them and not push this team. There's no need to push this team right now. So what they decide to do is they decide to just pressure them a little bit, and then they rotate. Of course, they have the dash effect. They have the ability to get around the map. And I want you to understand what they're trying to do here, guys, is they're trying to rotate to a low ground layer where they don't have to use that many materials just yet. That's exactly what they do. They rotate onto this sort of low ground layer. They don't need to use too many materials in order to protect themselves and to stay safe. They have armored walls, which are crucial as well. And of course, their goal also is to refarm as many trees as possible. Obviously, Bugha only has 153 wood. As you guys can see right here, Peterbot has 500, which is pretty good. And then Cold also has around, let's say, 200 to 300 in general. What this means, guys, is that the other two players, Cold and Peterbot, are going to have a lot of mats while Bugha doesn't. This is going to once again show their roles. Bugha is the tarper, he's the IGL. He needs to have and use the most mats at all times, so Peterbot and Cold are saving their mats for later in the game. Basically, what's happening here is their roles are setting in very well. Bugha is going to be scouting, Peterbot's going to be looking for eliminations around the area, and then of course Cold is just going to be doing a hybrid of both. Right now he's scouting, but this may mean also looking for eliminations at times. Now guys, I want you to see what they exactly do here. I want to show it from Bugha's perspective because he is the IGL. They're going to be looking for beams onto enemy players because that's what the goal is right now. And even though they're in zone, this is something crucial that so many teams miss that I really just cannot emphasize enough. What they're doing right here is so important for their positioning and their overall success in the game. They were based up here. This isn't even that bad of a spot in the zone. The congested side of zone is all the way over here. There's going to be tons of teams trying to get to this where the zone is. They're already in zone with their old base. This is their old base right here. They're already in zone here. They know that, hey, listen, we should rotate all the way around here because of two reasons. Number one, there's trees, quick refarming of wood, and also bricks, quick refarming of brick as well. That's crucial. And secondly, there's already a ton of builds that are placed right here, and using the trees and the general vegetation as cover is a really smart way to get past this area safely and then get to a sort of higher ground area like right here. Like I said, they're going to be rotating to the high ground in the later parts of the game, which is when it's more important. This team, in my opinion, is in the best spot in the map right now. They're not going to be sort of over here in this like dead area where it's not in zone. They're going to be in zone on a slightly higher layer. That's what they're going to do. I'm going to kind of show you guys from this perspective right here. What they're going to do is they're rotating and they're rotating. They're farming a lot of trees. They're just trying to break everything. Yes, they are getting sprayed a little bit. However, what's really important, I want you guys to realize, is that once what they do is they try to spray this team, they get a quick beam and elimination onto this player, and then their goal is, hey, listen, let's push this team because we're on the dead side of the endgame zone. Nobody's really going to try to third party us too hard, and I think we can easily get this elimination, which is exactly what they do. They get these eliminations very quickly and very efficiently. Obviously, this player is able to run away, which is sort of lucky. However, once again, he does get into a bad position, and he's sort of obviously going to be eliminated from this. Now, guys, we have Bugha, Peterbot, and Cold on a really good position in the side of the zone, and obviously they pulled zone again, which is what's going to prompt them to make this decision of trying to build up for the high ground. What they're trying to do is build up for high ground and get it early because they know that they have the resources to hold it for the rest of the game. Obviously, they recently got this elimination down here. I want you guys to understand exactly how important this is. They got this elimination that's going to be absolutely crucial. I want you to see. Look at the amount of loot and materials that they have, and look how much they've built. They know that they can go down here at any point and refresh their builds and materials. What they're trying to do now, guys, is they're just basically trying to close out the end game. Their goal is just play high ground, play it smart, and make sure that we're not going to be getting eliminated. Make sure we spray down and look for easy eliminations that we can get, and make sure that we're consistently rotating to zone early, and making sure that nobody tries to take high ground from us. All of those things kind of couple into one general high ground playstyle, which is going to be aggression onto the low ground, but playing safe. Playing safe obviously does mean making sure nobody sneaks up on you, making sure you're always ahead of zone, and making sure that you're applying constant pressure. And something crucial here that I want you guys to understand as well, the way that they're playing high ground is absolutely crucial. It's a very effective tactic that they're doing. Peterbot's on ultimate height, Booga and Cole are going to be down here sort of spraying. I want you guys to just see the tactics that they're using. Their goal right here is get ahead of zone, which Booga is doing very well. They're spraying everybody on these high ground layers. There's tons of space between them, so it's not necessarily easy to get high ground if they wanted to. And now you guys are gonna start seeing is Peterbot and Cole are gonna be fulfilling their sort of fragger roles that I was mentioning earlier. You're gonna see that Peterbot and Cole do start to drop down a little bit, look for a couple more eliminations if possible. Obviously, Peterbots and Cole are gonna start dropping down. Peterbot's right here looking for eliminations. Cole is dropping down right there. The goal here is for them to try to get as many elimination points as possible without getting eliminated. So once again, guys, they're just playing very textbook high ground right here. They're playing very smart. And I want you to understand, in trios, it is so much easier to allow somebody to drop down. Even if they get eliminated, if they get at least a couple of kills, it's a crucial and effective way to play truthfully. Obviously, Cole goes down here. Peterbot's going down as well. They're looking for these eliminations. Cole is going to be very aggressive, refarming the trees when he has to. But I want you guys to understand something that does happen here that's very unfortunate, to be honest with you. Cold is going to be aggressing onto these teams right here, and unfortunately what does happen, and this does happen sometimes in general trios, Cold gets eliminated. He gets knocked here, which is going to be a bit of a problem because there's still 5 whole teams left. There's 13 players, and Booga and Cole and Peterbot aren't doing the best in terms of materials and genuine health. Booga has good materials and health, however Peterbot, 1 material, 50 health basically, not too great. They want to make sure they have everything they need in order to win the game. Because Siphon is back, this is a crucial fact, because Siphon is back, these endgames are going to be played very differently. Booga and Peterbot can drop down and look for eliminations much easier because of that Siphon. They know that as they get eliminations, as they get kills, they're going to be getting health, they're going to be getting shield, and materials as well. So as you guys can see right here, this situation is going to be the final couple moments of the game. I want you to see exactly what they're doing. Booga has all the health, Booga has all the med kits, he is going to be having so much really good loot and stuff. Obviously, they get these eliminations onto these players. As you can see, what their goal here is right now is to get these med kits from these players. Booga goes for them, of course. He tries to pick them up as quick as possible. And now what he's looking for is to play the heal off. That is going to be the crucial tactic right here. Peterbot goes into zone trying to get the eliminations. There's going to be 2 players left deep in zone, and what the goal is right here for Booga is to just med up, make sure he wins the heal off, which he will because he has the med kits and the means to actually win the heal off, and then he just goes into the zone and looks for the remaining eliminations, and that's pretty much the game, guys. Now guys, this was an incredibly good VOD review because I believe that this team is going to be one of the best in the world if they continue playing at this high level. I know it's really early in the trio seasons, however I still think that you guys should really watch this team. They are extremely good, and the main thing I want you guys to understand is their use of power positions. Like I said, Raft, the Storm Surge position, the bunker, the island, these things are all crucial that allow them to get map control. Power positions that get map control, that's going to be the first tip. The second one is going to be explaining exactly how they rotate in the endgame zones to the best position possible based upon the zone. Even if they pull zone, they still rotate to the best position. Then the final thing is them playing high ground. They play textbook high ground. They make sure they know where they are. They make sure they play very safe and effectively. They make sure nobody overtakes them, nobody's able to eliminate them, and that they stay ahead of zone. If you guys follow all those tips, you're going to learn really well from this trio. That is about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.